Hey there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show. Thank you for joining us on, of course, another fun-filled episode. I am, as always, your humble host, joining you from our lovely Cardio Miracle Studios here in sunny Eastern Indiana. The Brian Nichols Show is powered by our phenomenal studio sponsor, Cardio Miracle, as well as our phenomenal sponsors over at AMP America. And for today, we are digging into our state of our country and the upcoming election. Traditionally, we're doing a week in review episode with our good buddy Remzo Martinez, but due to some scheduling issues we had today, we are instead going to do a one-on-one. We're going to talk about where we are as a country right now, and specifically the folks in the squishy middle of that political spectrum. So you see, there's been a shift happening. The centrists, the moderates, the independents, they're waking up. They're starting to realize that this election isn't just about policy outcomes. It's about the very infrastructure of D.C. itself. For too long, the status quo solution has been to keep growing the deep state, to keep infiltrating those bureaucracies, to keep expanding the federal government across the board. But here's the thing. People are catching on. They're seeing that this mindset, this establishment thinking from both Democrats and Republicans, it's been leading America down a terrible path. We're talking generations of damage here, folks. From Woodrow Wilson to today, it's been a century of creeping government control. Are you concerned about preserving your liberty and wealth in these uncertain times? Then you don't want to miss this year's Expat Money Summit, taking place online from October 7th through the 11th. Hosted by expat consultant Mikkel Thorup, this summit brings together over 40 experts to share their insights on international diversification. You're going to discover how to quickly acquire a second passport, diversify your finances offshore, invest in international real estate, and get an in-depth geopolitical analysis from thought leaders like Dr. Ron Paul and Doug Casey. Tickets are completely free. Just head to expatmoneysummit.com to reserve yours today. Take control of your future at the Expat Money Summit. That's expatmoneysummit.com. And now, back to the show. Now, the folks waking up to this, they're not some diehard conservatives or bleeding heart liberals. We're talking about the blue dog Democrats, the centrists, the independents. They're the ones saying, guys, hold up. This whole thing isn't working. And on the flip side, we've got the left-leaning folks who are, of course, still buying into the bullshit. They're still all in on these big do-good progressive governments and bureaucracies. And let me tell you, they're getting louder, but their numbers are shrinking. What we're seeing is a schism in the Democratic Party. You've got the old guard, the establishment types, and then you've got this growing group of disaffected Democrats. These folks are looking at their party and saying, folks, this isn't the party of JFK. Hell, this isn't even the party of Bill Clinton anymore. I mean, sure, Bill Clinton spoke at the DNC in 2024, but folks, that convention looked about as much like the ones from 92 or 96 as much as I look like Brad Pitt. Not too well. The left has taken over, lock, stock, and barrel. They've gotten control socially, culturally, politically, and on policy. And here's the kicker. They're not just destroying our country. They're destroying the credibility of the Democratic Party itself. And that's why we're seeing this influx of former Democrats, former progressives into this new weird coalition over on the right. Now, when I say on the right, I don't mean that they're all suddenly becoming card-carrying Republicans or libertarians. But no, what we're seeing is a coalition building between these centrists, these moderates, these independents, and the folks on the right. They're coming together because they see we're at this tipping point. They understand we need a change of direction. And that's why we're seeing folks like RFK Jr. and his VP pick, Nicole Shanahan, cozying up to the populist right. It's why we've seen Elon Musk and Tulsi Gabbard shifting rightwards. Hell, it's why we're even seeing folks like Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase entertaining the idea of voting for Trump. When's the last time you saw a Wall Street bigwig even consider that? Now, the only thing keeping the Democrats and Kamala Harris in this game is their grip of control on the media. They're still using it to push their narratives, but here's where it's getting interesting. There's trouble in paradise. See, when Kamala replaced Biden, there was supposed to be this deal. The media would anoint her as the chosen one, and in return, she'd give them access. But then the Harris campaign and the Democratic establishment realized something. She's an idiot. She can't string two coherent thoughts together. So what did they do? They reneged on that deal. They're not making her accessible to the media, to anyone. And let me tell you, the media is getting pissed. They're starting to hold her feet to the fire. You have the New York Times. They're saying, no, sorry, Kamala, joy is not a campaign strategy. And you got CNN finally doing an interview, even if it is with some establishment mouthpiece like Dana Bash. But here's the problem for Kamala. She can't distance herself from the Biden administration. She is the Biden administration. Hey folks, I want to take a moment to talk about something that has truly changed my life, and that is Cardio Miracle, our incredible studio sponsor. Now, I'll be honest, when I first heard about Cardio Miracle and their claims about improving heart health, I was skeptical. But after using it for just about 2 months, I was absolutely blown away by the results. First, my blood pressure went from being consistently around 140/90 to a much more healthier and manageable 120/80. And my resting heart rate dropped from the low 70s to the high 50s. And I couldn't believe it. But the benefits didn't stop there. I started sleeping better, and I felt more energized at the gym, and my heart felt the best it's felt in years. And it's not just me. Hundreds of you, our amazing listeners, have reached out to share your own incredible experiences with Cardio Miracle. So, what is Cardio Miracle, and how does it work? It's a carefully crafted supplement that harnesses the power of nitric oxide to support optimal heart function. So, by increasing nitric oxide levels in your blood, Cardio Miracle helps relax your blood vessels, improve circulation, and it protects your heart from damage. It's like giving your heart the support it needs to function at its best. And here's the best part. We've got an exclusive offer just for you, our loyal listeners here at the Brian Nichols Show. When you head over to cardiomiracle.com and use code TBNS at checkout, you'll get an extra 15% discount on your order. Plus, with their 100% money-back guarantee, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So, if you're ready to take control of your heart health and experience the life-changing benefits of Cardio Miracle for yourself, just click the link in the show notes or video description. Trust me, your heart will thank you. And don't wait another day to prioritize your health. Join the tens of thousands of folks who have already discovered the Cardio Miracle difference. Head to cardiomiracle.com now and use code TBNS for 15% off your order. Your journey to a happier and healthier heart starts today. And now, let's get back to the show. The Afghanistan pullout, she was the last person in the room for that decision. Her own words. The border crisis, that was supposed to be her job to fix. Remember the border czar? Inflation? Yeah, she's out there touting Bidenomics like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And let's talk about that border crisis for a second. We've got literally millions of illegals flooding over the border, taking over cities and towns across America. Just look at Aurora, Colorado, where Venezuelan gangs are literally taking over entire apartment complexes. This isn't just some far-off problem anymore. It's happening in our own backyard. Then there's inflation. Kamala's out there saying, well, Bidenomics are working. Really? Go tell that to any of your average folks watching their grocery bills skyrocket over the past few years. Tell that to the families who can't afford to fill up their gas tanks. Bidenomics aren't working. They're hurting America. So where do we go from here? Well, I've got 3 ideas and 3 action items for you if you want to actually make things better going forward. First, we need to focus on winning issues, specifically big picture freedom issues. When you're talking to folks on the progressive left who prioritize medical freedom, build coalitions there. Talk about how the government perverted science during COVID, how they used their expertise to push narratives, how they censored anyone who questioned the official line. And this isn't just about COVID. It's about bodily autonomy. It's about the right to make your own medical decisions without the government breathing down your neck. We saw how quickly they were willing to throw our rights right out the window in the name of public health. And sorry, we just cannot let that happen again. Second, we need to stop trying to build coalitions with bad faith actors. So as much as we're trying to build coalitions with good faith actors, avoid these bad faith actors. And we saw this, by the way, in 2020 when we had the Black Lives Matter protests. People tried to jump on board without realizing that the organization itself was ideologically left-leaning and more or less self-avowed Marxists. Again, we cannot make that mistake. And this doesn't mean we can't work with people who disagree with us on some issues. But folks, we need to stop doing this nonsense where we're making buddy-buddy with folks who fundamentally oppose our values. Because at the end of the day, if we compromise our principles, what are we even fighting for? And third, as much as we need to point out what's wrong, we need to promote what's being built, what's better, and what we can do together to make things better as a community and as a society. It's easy to be a critic, a lot harder to be a builder. But that's what we need right now. We need people who are willing to roll up their sleeves and do the hard work of creating real solutions. We need to show people what a free society actually looks like, not just tell them why this current system is broken. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, Brian, this sounds great, but how do we actually make this happen? And that's what we're going to dig into next time. We're going to talk about how to articulate these ideas to a voting base, how to build those coalitions, how to actually make a difference. Because here's the thing, it's not just about winning elections. It's about saving our country. It's about preserving freedom for the next generation. And that's a fight worth having. We're at a crossroads right now. Down one path, we've got more government control, more debt, more erosion of our basic freedoms. And down the other, we've got somewhat of a return to the principles that made this country great in the first place. And the choice seems pretty clear to me. But we can't just sit back and hope that things work out. We got to get involved. It starts with us having these conversations with our friends, our family, our neighbors. We've got to be willing to stand up and fight for what we believe in, even when, especially when, it's not popular. Because let me tell you something, the folks down in D.C., they're not going to give up their power without a fight. They're going to kick, they're going to scream, they're going to call us every name in the book. Be prepared. But you know what? Let them. Because at the end of the day, we've got something they don't. The truth. So here's my challenge to you. Involved. Start some conversations. Share these ideas. And when someone tries to shut you down with the usual leftist gobbledygook, don't back down. Stand your ground. Because remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for the future of this country. And the stakes, candidly, never been higher. Like, we're not just talking about one election here in November. We're talking about the entire direction our country is going to be going for generations to come. So what's it going to be? Are we going to actually fight? Or are we going to let the socialists and the deep state bureaucrats run this country into the ground? I don't know about you, but I'm ready to stand up. I'm ready to help build these coalitions, to reach those disaffected Democrats and independents who are sick and tired of the status quo. I'm ready to take on the media establishment that's been feeding us this steady diet of lies and complete mistruths. Remember, this isn't just about left versus right. It's not just about Democrat versus Republican. It's about freedom versus tyranny. It's about whether we're going to let a bunch of power-hungry politicians in D.C. decide how we're going to live our lives, or whether we're going to take that power back for ourselves. So let's get to work. Let's build those coalitions. Let's focus on the issues that actually matter. Let's offer real solutions instead of just empty rhetoric. And most importantly, let's never, ever give up this fight for freedom. This is Brian Nichols signing off. Remember, it's not enough just to win arguments. We have to win hearts and minds. So get out there, spread the message, and let's take this country back one conversation at a time. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week on The Brian Nichols Show.
Thanks for listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.